Alright, welcome to Suited for Success. I have high hopes for this episode as it has another banger song to review, as well as it gets a little passionate in there. Be prepared and maybe have your volume turned a little bit down for some of the sections. As for the point, well, everyone except for Rarity, which means Twilight gets her first point. Woo! Oh boy, first time I'm saying something immediately on episode start. The reason being that it's the first Rarity-focused episode. Not her and Applejack, nor her with everyone else, but entirely focused on her with others interjecting. Rarity is likely in my top 3 favorite characters for the show, and I hope to do this episode justice. Enjoy. And here we see Rarity's design for her grand galloping gala dress, as well as her cat's introduction. Meet Opalescence. She's a bit of a grump and is less irritating than Angel Bunny, Fluttershy's pet. Also, I'm not really a fashion person, and thus my opinion on fashion should be taken very lightly, but I believe Rarity's dress here is actually one of the best designs in the show, at least in my eyes. It feels like sometimes the outfits are exaggerated to show the pompous nature of the industry, but this feels very regal and beautiful, exactly as she would want to look, given her desire for the gala. In episode 3 of Ticketmaster, we realize she wants to impress the prince and get married and be royalty. This dress gives off way more of a princess vibe than the princess dress in that future episode. Opal is helping Rarity with her work by basically being a shelf. I'm not sure how this helps when Rarity can use magic, but okay. Do animals have labor laws? Probably, right? That being said, Opal falls into the standard cat archetype of rude on the outside and soft on the inside, so despite what some people may call mistreatment, Opal still demonstrates love and care for Rarity and purrs regularly to show her contentness in the situation. Twilight and Applejack show up and interrupt Rarity while she's in the zone, but she stops to hear them out. Twilight apparently wants to wear this dress at the gala and needs the button to be fixed. Rarity tries to hold in her rude comments and offers to make her an entirely new dress. Twilight, of course, doesn't want to burden Rarity with the extra work, and Rarity insists, likely wanting her friend to look their best. This is definitely presented as a mix of her generosity, but also some shame in not wanting to arrive at the gala with ponies that are underdressed. So it's a bit selfish, but this is an early season Rarity, and it's kind of expected. She's done far worse, and will probably do far worse in the future. Applejack, on the other hand, claims to not want to wear anything fancy and just go in her work duds. Again, Rarity protests and explains that she should wear formal attire for such an event, only for Applejack to not be receptive. However, Rarity, using her negotiating skills to instead spruce up Applejack's work duds, makes her accept the kind offer, as long as Rarity doesn't make them too frou-frou, which is likely a callback to Look Before You Sleep, where Applejack was dared to wear such an outfit. Still don't believe Twilight would own that dress. And Rainbow crashes into the scene. She crashes into so many scenes, it's really noticeable when I'm diving into the episodes this in depth. Apparently she was working on a new trick, and that's why she crashed this time. Rarity gets the brilliant idea to make a dress for all of her friends and hold their very own fashion show. Rainbow Dasha has apparently forgotten all about the gala, which is mostly expected, but considering she was going to use it to impress her heroes, it's a little strange. Twilight loves Rarity's idea, but questions if she can handle it, and Rarity exclaims that it'll be, a bit of work, but it'll be great for her business, as well as a lot of fun, showing her business savviness and her love for her work. Even Rainbow Dash gets excited because she believes it'll be fun and she likes fun. Not sure if she's being ignorant, or she's genuinely excited. Applejack does have concerns, and asks Rarity, all you have to do is make 6 unique, stunning original dresses, and make them lickety-split. And Rarity laughs it off, saying Applejack thinks that it'll be hard, which I mean, that's kind of like arrogance, but it could also be confidence, but I think it's mostly arrogance. And as we'll see, she would have actually succeeded pretty easily, but then the conflict of the episode happens. It's time for the third song review! That's right, only 2 episodes after Winter Wrap-Up and we get another song. Let's delve into it. So this song is called Art of the Dress, and not only is it a fucking bop like Winter Wrap-Up, it also delves into how thoughtful Rarity is in her designing process. Starting with Twilight's dress, cutting up the pattern snip by snip, making sure the fabric folds nicely. It's the perfect color and so hip. She knows Twilight is a study nut and how she appreciates comfort, so she creates patterns that Twilight will enjoy as part of her studying and reading. She likes to put the pieces together, she likes the patterns, while also making sure the fabric folds properly to apply the most comfort. Then it has her own flair to make the color match her friend perfectly, and making sure it's in a hip style that will get her compliments. Now onto Applejack's dress, yard by yard, fussing on the details, jeweled neckline, don't you know a stitch in time saves 9, make her something perfect to inspire, even though she hates formal attire. Got to mind those intimate details, even though she's more concerned with sales. Here, we see some good development from Rarity. She fusses on the details because Applejack is a big picture pony. In this way, Applejack won't have to think about it. The stitch in time saves 9 is a saying that involves hard work now to save time later, which perfectly mirrors Applejack's hardworking persona. So, she also recognizes that Applejack doesn't like formal attire, so she makes something more inspiring to keep her interests. And finally, she recognizes why Applejack is going to the gala, which is, to make money, so she doubles down on the details because the higher class ponies will notice and make them think she's more capable, helping with the said sales. Here she goes over some of the broad strokes involved in dressmaking and quickly delves into some basic things for Fluttershy and Pinkie Pie. Pinkie Pie likes pink, go figure, and she knows Fluttershy will want something breezy to fit with her love for the outdoors. flowers. Onto Rainbow Dash's dress. Something brash, perhaps quite fetching. Make sure it fits forelock and crest. Even though it rides high on the flank, Rainbow won't look like a tank. We see that Rarity understands Rainbow's personality. She's a brash individual and would want something similar, but it's also something eye-catching because Rainbow likes to have attention on her, and her goal for the gala is to specifically get the Wonderbolt's eyes on her. The forelock and crest are different parts of a horse, so she wants to make sure that it fits her perfectly as not to inhibit her movements. Similarly, she acknowledges that while the skirt can ride high, it won't make Rainbow look like a tank, which I can understand it as it won't make her hard for her to move, as tank controls are usually regarded as a bad thing in games and media, so it likely was a reference to that. It also means that she won't look overweight, which also means she'll look more sleek, which also means she'll look faster, which is also something that the Wonderbolts would look for, so that way she doesn't look too bulky. Aerodynamics. So that's the art of the dress. There will be a reprise later that we'll get into. As for this first part, not only does it make Rarity seem incredibly competent at her job, but it also has very observant understanding of her friends' personalities and aesthetics, as well as what's important to them. The song itself is also very fun and well done, and while the lyrics are so perfectly chosen to accentuate everything I've just said, each line chosen so carefully across this song, and any line not specifically addressing like one of her friends and their interests, is a line referencing her craft and her existence as an artisan. All in all, Art of the Dress is getting a 7. I want to give it more, but it's lacking that deeper emotional pull that I really need in a song. However, if we add in the reprise later on as part of this song, if we consider them one unit, then it will go up to an 8 for me, because it added way more emotional impact. Alright, so similarly to Rarity's personal outfit, I think these are also some of the best outfits the other 5 get in the whole show. Starting with Applejack's, it's just a nice leather outfit accentuating her apple heritage and business, while being made of practical leathers and not being too dress-like. The saddle gets across the hardworking vibe as well, so it's all just a solid outfit. As for Twilight's, it's a little bit more simplistic style, focusing heavily on into a star and astral theme, which is not only a reference to her name, also her cutie mark, and her love of astrology, and the more simplistic design is actually a preference of Twilight's, as we learn in one of the Twilight's birthday episodes. She loves simplicity in terms of outfits. Rainbow Dash's outfit once again falls into the Roman style, which fits with the Pegasi heritage, and Rainbow Dash's actual house, while also being combined with her signature rainbow colors and a striking style, with the clouds bringing it all together in her work and lifestyle high in the sky. Even the grapes are a reference towards emperors of Rome being fed grapes by servants, which is just really funny to me. Fluttershy not only has an outdoor aesthetic, but Rarity herself also says it sings spring, which is a reference to Fluttershy's love of spring, which is in reference to winter wrap-up, as she says she loves waking the animals and welcoming them into spring. It also has flowers and butterflies, the butterflies obviously being a reference to her cutie mark, while also being an entirely natural design with no animals involved whatsoever, like they aren't even using wool or anything. It leans more into her animal lover instincts that way. Pinky's is pink, which, as Rarity says, is her favorite, but also it takes on the candy aspect of her work and her love of sweets, while also being a take on a more classical confectioner design, seen in things like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. The design also has a lot of waves and ripples in the lining, which, matches Pinkie Pie's bouncing personality and behavior. After Rarity finishes unveiling all of the dresses and gushing over her hard work, we see everyone just blankly staring, and when the dresses were originally revealed, the 5 of them actually just recoiled in disgust and or horror. I'm about to fight some ponies, and I will not be holding back. The only thing they can manage to say is, "There's something," and Fluttershy only gives a dejected, "They're nice," while wearing a face that screams, "I want to die." Twilight and Applejack do the lying to your friends so they feel better shtick, trying to explain that she worked hard at them, so of course they like them, but Rainbow drops a cold, "I was hoping it'd be cooler." Rarity hears them say that the outfits aren't exactly what they had in mind, and she takes it pretty well, clearly dejected, but as she says herself, "You're my friends and I want you to be 100% satisfied," demonstrating both professionalism and the ability to take criticism, which are both wonderful traits for not only a business owner, but any person or pony. They all say, "No, really, Rarity, it's fine, we like them," but Rarity won't let them be even a little unsatisfied. This calls back to the perfectionism that she has, that I mentioned in episode 1. They really try to tell her not to expend too much effort, but Rarity is already working hard. They thank her again, and we see Rarity become dejected at the weight of what she's gotten into. She is actually giving off, toxic generosity, inconveniencing herself to a detrimental degree for her mental health, just for the others to be happy, which is not only unhealthy, but also unsustainable, and she needs to take better care of herself. Rarity calls Fluttershy in to look over her revisements, which appears to be the removal of the flowers at the bottom of the gown, and the replacing of the head butterfly with a flower, as well as toning down the leg vine wraps, only for Fluttershy to feign happiness as to not hurt Rarity's feelings, which, they will eventually learn, isn't how you handle these things. Rarity pressures Fluttershy very hard to give her a proper input on the dress, until Fluttershy finally snaps and explains thus. Oh boy, I hope I get this right. The arm size is too tight, the mid-middle color doesn't go with the shawl lapel, the hems are clearly missheen stitched, the pleats are uneven, the fabric looks like toile, the back stitch was used when it should have been a top stitch or a classic blanket stitch, and this looks like French shit I can't pronounce, so I'm just gonna play the clip for it.
Design is reminiscent of prêt-à-porter and not true French haute couture.
So needless to say, Fluttershy is displaying a deeper understanding of both fashion and sewing than anyone expected, including Rarity. However, we will learn later in the episode that it's most likely a shallow pretension and not true understanding. I can't properly convey how valid Fluttershy's criticism is, since it's all lingo I don't know, and I don't have the knowledge set to properly go into it. After all of that, Fluttershy hits Rarity with the most passive-aggressive, whatever you do will be fine. In case you're wondering how all of the fucking ponies got at points this episode, this is the type of shit why. Rarity, the professional seamstress, is making you a wonderful, thoughtful, free outfit, and y'all are just being brats about it. This is the start of the reprise that's less of a song and more of each of her friends making horrible fashion decisions that the fashionista is going to do anyway because she's too nice. Starting with Twilight, who wants all of the constellations on her outfit to be accurate, which is a neat idea, but the execution lacks the je ne sais quoi needed for fashion. Pinkie expresses that her outfit would be more her with lollipops and balloons, but if we look at the outfit Rarity made, it had lollipops. The balloons decor idea could have been an okay addition if added tastefully, but of course, Rarity is going to do it exactly as they want. She's desperately following their guidelines while singing about how the client's always right and she needs to get them all done by tonight, which, shows she's on a crunch time rush and being forced into this shit decisions. More lyrics with Fluttershy, you put me in a bind, Rainbow Dash, what is on your mind, and remember Applejack's studs must shine. Starts with complaining, moves on to seeking input, and then focuses on what she needs to do to make her friend happy. Even when stressed and pushed to her limits, she eventually ends up focusing on making others happy. This is what Rarity is to me, and she should never be put into these situations. She'll have other moments like this in the future where she gets too focused on a time limit and neglects her loved ones, or in this case, they neglect her. It's horribly tragic. Another line here is, dressmaking's easy, every customer's call, brings a whole new revision, gotta make sure it holds to my vision. The original song, like the first part of it, has the exact same dressmaking is easy line, but here its meaning is completely inverted by the new context and imagery. Instead of it being easy because she's passionate, it's sarcastic, that everyone keeps messing with her specialty. But they don't actually know what looks good because they haven't spent their lives studying and practicing at this. Fluttershy recommends French haute couture, which I know is a term, but I don't actually know the details. Regardless, as I said, Fluttershy only has a surface level understanding of the subject matter, and thinks this is fancy and will look good on her. But Rarity shows her disagreement because Fluttershy herself holds a different air, and it clearly doesn't mesh well with this style of outfit as Rarity is exhibiting with her expressions. Applejack questions if it rains, what will she do at the partially indoor party? Rarity, throughout all of their suggestions, is either disgusted or exasperated over the constant nonsense. Applejack wants galoshes. Even I know that's fucking bullshit. And I haven't pointed it out, but during this replies, her mane is messed up, which is just a visual representation of her stress. Like, we all know Rarity cares about her appearance, and the fact that she hasn't done so means she's been so stressed she hasn't even thought about something like that. She hasn't even thought about something she cares about that deeply. Pinkie keeps wanting more balloons. No, that's too many. No, more candy. No, that's too much. Oh, I know, streamers. Those extremely thin, easily rippable decorations that are not designed to be worn. Rarity might have used a higher quality material, but Pinkie would probably just supply her own. And when Rarity shows concern for the streamers, Pinkie guilts her with, whose dress is this? Hey, remember this?
And me too. It's no fun upsetting your friends.
It only took 11 episodes, but I told you we'd come back to this. And as the series goes on, I'm probably going to be using this clip a lot more, so get ready for it. Rarity, while trying to get input for Rainbow, only gets, make it cooler, only further delaying the time she has to work with on all of the outfits. We do get the iconic line of, it needs to be about 20% cooler, but the actual context of the line is completely useless and unhelpful, just like all of them are being in this episode. Each of the main 5 outside of Rarity sing what should be considered parody lines, but as we learned in episode 1, this is happening for real in universe. Pinkie Pie starts with, all we really want is indecision. Rainbow leads in with, all we really like is what we know. Twilight with, gotta balance style with adherence. Fluttershy with, make sure we make a good appearance. And Applejack with the fucking slam dunk of, even if you simply have to fudge it, make sure it stays within our budget. So it looks like they are paying her? Not completely free like I assumed. Again, if we know this happens in universe, Pinkie literally is just fucking with her. Rainbow admits ignorance. Twilight flexes her rigidity. Fluttershy is so focused on what looks good in general and not on them specifically, which is Rarity's whole thing. And Applejack asks her to take shortcuts and compromise her art, which she has deep pride in, as we've seen from her perfectionism. All of this is basically being a massive smack in the face to poor fucking Rarity. And here we get a lingering shot of the most tragic part of all of this. Rarity's been working so hard to the point of exhaustion on their dresses. She hasn't even started her own because she is more concerned with them over herself. Self-sacrifice is one of the most extreme forms of generosity, and it's not always a good one. Okay, so Rarity admits to Opal that the dresses are straight up ugly, and while I'd normally chastise Rarity for such comments and behavior. In this situation, she's been run ragged and had her pride and honor as a craftswoman trampled. She's earned a dig or two at her friends. The scene also has the contrast of Opal hating the outfits, and the main five are just gushing over all of them because it's exactly what they wanted. And then Pinky pressures Rarity into giving her opinion, which she provides the classic, "I'm happy, you're happy," which is what comes out when you're too disheartened to make any actual comments. Spike randomly pops in and says he got Hoity-Toity, who is a big shot fashion guy in Canterlot, to come to Rarity's fashion show, which he likely did to earn brownie points with her, but also because he truly does like for her and care for her and wants to see her succeed. However, Rarity is holding in the horror at the thought of someone she respects seeing outfits that do not conform to her vision and style. Remember kids, repressing emotions is basically always a bad idea. Bon 34. There's like 5 frames of Derpy 24 here. I think this is the first appearance of DJ Pone3 or DJ Pony. I prefer the fanon name of Vinyl Scratch, so I'll be using that in the future. Also because it's less complicated to pronounce because I don't actually understand how to pronounce the first one. Lyra 27. I think I miscounted one Lyra last episode and said 25 twice, or I just neglected to put in the number 26, so consider this me fixing it. Hoity-Toity was shown in front of the stage right here, but now he's nowhere to be seen. There's also some random flowers layered above the purple ground texture over here, which I thought was like a carpet or a rug or something. I don't know. This symbol right here in the middle of Rarity's eyes and mane or as a design, I don't think we see them used in the future, but it is a cool logo for her business if it is used. Also, yeah, here are the outfit reveals. They're all terrible. Rainbow's is probably the least terrible, as it looks like okay if she was going to war. As you can see, pretty much everyone agrees that these are trash, which is obviously for story reasons, but also, come on. Everyone slowly realizes that they might have been really dumb and are currently embarrassing themselves. And even worse, embarrassing Rarity in front of a high-end fashion icon. Hoity explains that the outfits are an amateurish mishmash, basically revealing that the main five did not understand what Rarity clearly did, and that they are not cut out for doing her job for her. Trust in the experts, they tend to know what they're talking about, as long as they aren't lying, of course. Spike calls out Rarity in an attempt to hype her up, since he loves everything she does, but he only causes her more humiliation, unfortunately. We cut away and return several days later as the main five come to Rarity's to check on her, only for her to be wallowing because her reputation and dignity were ruined. Honestly reasonable. The last 30 seconds of the show is mostly a comedic bit of Rarity wallowing, but it's still a harsh situation, as the main five don't really know what to do and are now brainstorming a way to figure out how to remedy the mistakes they made. Good initiative, as this was all your fault. They're at least trying to fix it. Rainbow Dash kidnaps Opal and traumatizes her by placing her into a tree. Animal abuse. Aside from that, well, this was done to try and get Rarity out of her room. And instead of using her magic to just magic her out of the tree, she runs outside to try and catch her. She's not even thinking clearly anymore, she's so sad. And here we see the main five's take on Rarity's dress. They claim they used her blueprints and had Fluttershy sew. Well, at least she actually did know how to do that. But anyway, they all apologize and explain that her original designs were perfect and they should have never messed with her expertise. Also, Opal looks really happy here, so it was probably an intentional plan that Opal agreed to be a part of. We also see the genuine joy on Rarity's face. We don't know how or why Hoity-Toity is still around, but since Twilight made a comment about her career not being over, it looks like she called him back or had Spike do it. Probably pulled some strings with her royal benefactor, you know, the princess. I'm kind of just spitballing here since I don't actually know how or why, and it's not really explored. All the apples are red. And we get to see all of them in their dresses. I don't really have much more to say about them at this point. Rarity's designs are great, and she impresses Hoity-Toity. In our letter to Celestia, we get the classic, if you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one, least of all yourself. Followed by the equally classic, if your friends offer to do you a favor, don't be overly critical to their kindness. Or in other words, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. If they made this entire episode for that one line, I hope they regret nothing. This was a bomb episode, and the advice and message is all really well done. As we exit the episode, Hoity offers to put her outfits in his finest shop, but he needs a dozen of each dress by next Tuesday. We don't see her answer as it fades to black with her gas, but it's safe to say she likely is not interested. This wouldn't be the first nor last time she turns down something beneficial for her health or morals or ideals. And that was Suited for Success. Got a little heated in there, sorry about that. But yeah, this episode might be my favorite of season 1, and the only reason it's not getting a higher score than Winter Wrap-Up is because of how mistreated the other 5 characters are. If they just maybe didn't lose as much face, I would have put this higher, but I have to give it an 8 out of 10 just like Winter Wrap-Up. This still might just be my favorite episode though. Don't knock it just because of the score. I haven't actually looked at the episode list, so I don't know if there's an upcoming episode I like more. I guess we'll find out.